ಓಂ ಜನನೀಂ ಶಾರದಾಂ ದೇವೀಂ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣಂ ಜಗದ್ಗುರುಂ ಪಾದಪದ್ಮೇ ತಯೋ ಶ್ರಿತ್ವಾ ಪ್ರಣಮಾಮಿ ಮುಹುರ್ಮುಹುಃ. ಓಂ ವಾಂಗ್ಮೇ ಮನಸಿ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತಾ ಮನೋ ಮೇ ವಾಚಿ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತಂ ಆವಿರಾವಿರ್ಮಯೇಧಿ ವೇದಸ್ಯ ಮಾಣಿಸ್ಥಃ ಶ್ರುತಂ ಮೇ ಮಾ ಪ್ರಹಾಸೀಃ ಅನೇನಾಧೀತೇನಾಹೋರಾತ್ರಾನ್ ಸಂದಧಾಮಿ ಋತಂ ವದಿಷ್ಯಾಮಿ ಸತ್ಯಂ ವದಿಷ್ಯಾಮಿ ತನ್ಮಾಮವತು ತದ್ವಕ್ತಾರಮವತು ಅವತು ಮಾಂ ಅವತು ವಕ್ತಾರಮವತು ವಕ್ತಾರಂ. ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಓಂ. Let my speech and mind work together in harmony. Let the knowledge of the self reveal and grow inside me. Let my mind and speech support and help me to understand the truth taught by the Vedic teachings. Let me be diligent in learning Vedic scriptures day and night, and let me not forget the knowledge gained. I will speak about the divine truth. I speak about the absolute truth. And may that truth protect me and my teacher. Om. Peace. Peace, peace be unto all. Sri Lakshmi Prasada Siddhyarthe Viniyogaha. We are studying the Sri Suktam. It is all to obtain the grace of the Divine Mother. And there were at least 3 or 4 or 5 rishis whose experiences of the Divine Mother have been combined together in the form of this Sri Suktam. And that is the reason why we get so many repetitions. But just as a child loves the sweet words of the mother any number of times, so also all the children, and we are all the children of the Divine Mother, any number of times we want to be with Mother, we want to hear her sweet words. And we know Mother is very happy with all of us. In our last class, we have been discussing the 11th rik. One of the rishis is called Kardama, another is called Chiklita. In this 11th, the name is there clearly, and a little bit confusing type of words are used here. Mataram Padmamalini Kardamena Prajabhuta. So it can mean Kardama is the son of Mother Lakshmi, or Kardama is the father of Mother Lakshmi. Either way, as the father or as the child, both are extraordinarily blessed. Just like we can recollect the story of the Holy Mother's mother, Shama Sundari Devi. She was from Shihar, so one day she went out to answer calls of nature. In those days, there were no attached bathrooms, so they have to go into the field. And this lady sat down. Suddenly she heard the sound of anklets, and a small, most lovely girl came and embraced Shama Sundari Devi. And then Shama Sundari, of course, she could not recognize. Who are you? I am Lakshmi. But I will not be with you right now. I have a long distance to go. I will come later on and dwell with you. Now, is Shama Sundari Devi the daughter of Mother Lakshmi, or Mother Lakshmi is the daughter of Shyama Sundari Devi. Either way, it doesn't matter. It is the closest, most loving relationship. Interestingly, even if a father thinks this is my daughter, even in day-to-day life we can see that for a father, the child is even sweeter, nearer, dearer than one's own life. For the sake of a small baby, the father is ready, both mother and father are ready to give up their life. The most important thing is this closest bond. This is my daughter or this is my mother. That is the common thing, and Hinduism accepts it. That is why a divine mother or divine God can be considered, or we can relate to God either as what we call as a father or as a son, as a mother or as a daughter. This is called Vatsalya Bhava. As we have seen, Kausalya Devi or Yashoda Devi or Sri Ramakrishna, they practiced both moods, Vatsalya Bhava. Sri Ramakrishna especially wanted to prove this most important relationship that exists between human beings and human beings, and that is the most desirable one. And here we are getting it. So what is the advantage? Advantage is, as I mentioned last time, if you praise the children of somebody, the parents will be pleased. Or if the child behaves, I am a child and God is my father and mother, and if that child is praised, God also will be praised. So either way, the most important thing is the grace of the divine descends upon a person who has that loving relationship. And this is what tantrics wanted to inculcate. That is why they divided human relationship with the divine into three categories. First is Pashubhava. What is it? We just are interested only in eating, drinking and sleeping. Tamoguna. This is called Pashubhava. We behave like Pashus, animals. That is why Shiva is called Pashupati. And when the same person, in course of time, is bound to evolve, he becomes a Veera. Then a tremendous energy is evoked, and he has got insatiable desires. He behaves like a hero. I am a man of tremendous power. I can conquer people. I can subdue both inside and outside. And I am a master. I can subdue my mind also. Such a person is called a Veera or heroic mood. And then the highest is through these two, gradually evolving from Pashu to Veera. The person's journey has not ended. He will go to the next stage, which is called Divya. I am divine. Everybody is divine. So I am going to behave naturally like a divine being. And when such a stage is reached, then there are no restrictions for the sadhaka. He can do whatever he likes. And this is clearly seen. Once Sri Ramakrishna asked Totapuri, but I am married. Then Totapuri told something very, very interesting. He said that if a person has really practiced yoga, then that person will not be subject to ordinary the attractions of the body and mind. And the only way how to know whether a person has realized God or not, even if the most beautiful wife is sleeping embracing that person, then that person's mind will not come down from that Brahmi Bhava, from that idea that I am divine. And Sri Ramakrishna wanted to find out, to get rid of the doubts. And we should not imitate Sri Ramakrishna blindly. It will lead to disaster. So even though he took sannyasa, he specifically asked Holy Mother to live with him, to sleep on the same bed. He even tested, oh mind, if you wish to enjoy, then here is your wife. Because the most powerful natural instincts, irrepressible instincts are, one is sex, another is money. Both are interrelated, artha and kama. Only the Vedas put it, artha and kama. Ramakrishna said the greatest enemies for spiritual progress is artha and kama. Then is Ramakrishna going against the Vedic teachings? No. Only he has come to remind us, artha and kama should be sandwiched between dharma and moksha. And then artha and kama becomes most helpful agents, not distracting, but helpful, most helpful things. That is why the prayer hears that make me rich, make me powerful. This can be, we are interpreting in a spiritual way, that make me rich so that I can serve the society. Make me famous so that I can share my wisdom to all the children who are thirsting for it. Let me be a servant of all the other children. My Divine Mother would be very pleased with me if I take care of her other children. For that purpose, I require all these things. This is the major idea we have to inculcate in this, not the other idea. Here is a selfish person. He wants to enjoy and he wants to be the richest person, wealthiest person, possessing everything so that he may feel secure, and he doesn't want to share it with anybody lest his riches will become less and less. No. That is why dana is considered as the divine investment. If anybody is doing dana, charity, it is actually a grandest investment, and the result, dharma, punya, is carried janma janmantara, life after life, and loka, from one loka to another loka. Wherever we are, our credit card is valid and we can convert it into anything we like. I often compare punyam to a credit card. Why do I do so? Because just as a credit card, with it we can buy anything that we want. We can buy a house, we can buy a car, we can buy groceries, we can pay or we can buy first class dress, anything we want. So this can be converted into anything, including I want to give some charity, and that is, for that also credit card is very eligible card. But every credit card in this world is applicable, severely restricted. But God is what I call interloka insurance company. So we do something, that is, we are paying the premium, and this God, insurance company, ensures that we get anything that we want according to our deposit wherever we go, in this loka or the other loka or any other loka, and we can convert it into anything. And ultimately all conversions are meant to lead to only one result, which is called sukham. So, from a spiritual viewpoint, all this Sri Suktam is, I want to know that I am Amrita Putra. I am the child of the Divine Mother. Shunvantu Vishve Amrutasya Putraha. And if I am Amrutaputra, every child, everybody is a child of God only. This is the central idea. Even the least intelligent person will be able to understand by touting the word, God is the creator. If God is the creator, what is the creation? What is the relationship between the creation and creator? Because the effect will be the same as the cause. So what were we discussing? Kardamena Prajabhuta. Kardama, Rishi. He was one of the Rishis whose realizations have been included in this Sri Suktam. Prajabhuta. That is, he has a daughter called Mahalakshmi. Or, as I said, some commentators, they say, he is the child of the Divine Mother. Or he did upasana, like people do Hayagriva upasana or Sri Vidya upasana. So like that, this person must have done. What is upasana? Achieving nearness with the deity until one doesn't see any difference between oneself and the Ishtadevata, chosen deity. So if this person is doing upasana of this Sri Vidya, Sri means don't, Lakshmi very often is mistakenly attributed only to wealth and riches and money like that. No. As we saw in the Durga Saptasati, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena, Vritti Rupena, Vidya Rupena, Matru Rupena, Daya Rupena, Buddhi Rupena, Shanti Rupena. That one Divine Mother is manifesting within each one of us, and in some as Daya, compassion, some people as intelligence, some people as great warriors, administrators, as beautifully described by the Bhagavan Krishna himself in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we called Vibhuti Yogam. Wherever you see excellence, it is my. And Divine Mother, that is the my excellence. Hri, Sri, Lajja, Buddhi, Jati, Kula, Vidya, everything. What about negative qualities? Yes, Bhranti, delusion, Ahankara, egotism. That is also the Divine Mother only. Is there necessity for that? Yes. Do not exclude anything from the Divine Mother. Nothing is good, nothing is bad, depending upon how we use and how we are affected. So if I do something wrong, Divine Mother comes to us in the form of bad karma phala. So what is bad karma phala? We call it bad karma phala. The Divine Mother doesn't say it is bad karma phala. It is a very good karma phala, because karma phala exhausts our karma. It teaches us a lesson. I have slipped, I have suffered, I am forced to find out what made me suffer, and in future that is a caution. I should not repeat such a thing. Why am I so happy? Because I did something very good. And if I want to continue to be happy, then I will have to continue to do these things. That is very important. So this is what we need to do all the time. Decrease the demonic quality, increase the spiritual quality. And all these qualities are the result of the Divine Mother manifesting. That is why it is said, Srishti Sthiti Vinashanam Shakti Bhute Sanatani Gunashraye Gunamayi Narayani Namostute. The Divine Mother is manifesting in the form of the creation through the three gunas. So every guna, not only it gives body, mind, but anything that is reflects either tamoguna or Rajoguna or Sattva-guna. So there is nothing that can be excluded. There is nothing called bad, nothing negative, nothing called dirty. Everything is necessary. Just because the topic came, I just wanted to point out. So we think our, what is called, after digestion is over, whatever we could not digest, it should be thrown out, either through the mouth or through the door below. Is it bad? No, nothing is bad. Because all our crops are grown out of what? Cow dung, goat, sheep dung, goat dung, etc., etc. What is left out, thrown out by others, will become precious food to other creatures. But we don't take time to think deeply. That is why we think this is wonderful, this is not. Everything is wonderful for something or the other. Because the whole universe is pervaded by the Divine Mother, and in which form? In the form of the three gunas. So, O Mother, your son Kardama, or Kardama realized you as his mother, as his Divine Mother. So, or Kardama's attitude towards you is, you are my child and I will give up my life for you. So, just like that, my Sambhava Kardama, O Kardama, please bless me to have your mother or daughter Mahalakshmi, the Divine Mother, my Sambhava. Let her also be born in my heart, then in my home. The Divine always first comes in the form of Buddhi, then descends into the heart. Buddhi means understanding what is good and right. Heart means converting into devotion so that I can reap the benefits. So it is a prayer. Just as you, O Kardama, forged this wonderful relationship, you are calling her my mother. You became her favorite child. Like you, may I also become the favorite child of the Divine Mother, because not that I was not the favorite child, I was, but I did not know about it until now. And by the grace of my Guru, I came to know about it. So then what happens? If the Divine Mother becomes my mother, a Divine Mother's child will become Divine child only. So if a cow gives birth, it will be a calf only. If a dog gives birth, then it will be a dog. Human being gives birth, it will be human. Divine gives birth, it must be divine, because the cause and the effect cannot be different. So Sriyam Vasayame Kule. That is, you inspire me as a Rishi, just as you could say, the Divine Mother is my mother, or she is my daughter, Vatsalya Bhava. May I also have the same feeling. Then what happens? Sriyam Vasayame Kule. Not only let Mahalakshmi stay in my house with me, but let this Mahalakshmi also be not only in my own house, but in my entire kula, that is lineage. So many, my children will be there. May that they also follow my footsteps. Let them also have that devotion to the Divine Mother, just as you can easily understand it. We are the followers of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the favorite child of the Divine Mother. Why do I call him as the favorite child? Because he considered Divine Mother as his favorite mother, or favorite manifestation of divinity. And so let me also imitate, follow his footsteps. For me also, let the Divine Mother be my own mother, and call her by that sweet name, Mother. And Mother loves nothing else. That is why there is something, our eyes have to be opened Holy Mother used to stay at Nahavat, but rarely she got the opportunity to serve Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Because any devotee with good character or not so good character, she only has to say Ma, and whatever the child asks, the mother will give. So she used to carry, Holy Mother used to carry food to Sri Ramakrishna. That was one of the most important opportunities for her to be with Sri Ramakrishna. But very soon the devotees started coming and they wanted to be with Sri Ramakrishna, and they did not have any thought what inconvenience can be given to Holy Mother. She says, Ma, today can I carry? What can she say? You called me my mother, and gladly I have to give. Not that with regret. Her own regret was, I am losing the opportunity to serve him. And how did Sri Ramakrishna, how was Sri Ramakrishna looked upon by Holy Mother? When somebody asked her, how do you look upon? She gave a very paradoxical answer. She said, I look upon him both as Narayana and as well as my own son. And some devotee got confused. How do you issue this kind of paradoxical statement? And she said, really I know Sri Ramakrishna is none other than God himself. But at the same time, from my point of view, that I am a mother to him. That is why I have to cook according to the suitability of his stomach. And Sri Ramakrishna said many times, she knows what is suitable for my health. And then go and feed lovingly. She used to do so many things. Later on, she was deprived of that because of the interference of other devotees, albeit they did not mean that. They also wanted to have a share of Sri Ramakrishna, and she had to put up with it. So here is a prayer, Sriyam Vasayame Kule, let the same devotion continue in my lineage, let the Divine Mother be permanently abide in my kula, in my house, generation after generation. That means, may they also be devotees, may they also be people of good conduct. And what type of, who is that person? Mataram. She is the mother of everybody. And Padmamalini. Padma, this word Padma is a beautiful word. Malini means she who is wearing a garland of lotuses. In Indian Vedanta, there is a beautiful description. A heart is equated with a lotus, and the lotus is the dwelling place. And Sri Ramakrishna described it as the drawing room of a rich person, where most of the time he is to be found. So what is this heart? It is a place where the Jivatma and Paramatma come together to dwell. That is the simple meaning. So the Divine Mother is dwelling in the hearts of everybody, not only one. Whether we are aware of it or not, Mother is always with us. We are lying in her lap, and when we forget, we become frightened, and then we feel insecure, and then we start crying. In the carried away by our attachments to worldly goods, we forget the real security is only in the lap of our Divine Mother. So this is the, O Kardama, please bless me to have your mother or daughter, who is Mahalakshmi, the Divine Mother. She will let her also dwell in my home, and you have to make your daughter, that is Lakshmi, who wears a garland of lotus flowers, who is the goddess of wealth, not only to stay with me, but to perpetually stay in my home. This is the meaning of the 11th Rik in the Sri Suktam. We move on to the 12th. Apah srujantu snigdhani chiklita vasame grihe nichadevi mataram shriyam vasayame kule. More or less same type of Rik with the same meaning like above. But only the Rishi has changed. Earlier it was Kardama, and here is another one called Chiklita. And by the way, some commentators say Kardama, there is a beautiful story of Kardama, who was a great Rishi, and his wife was Devahuti. And then this Kardama Rishi gave birth to Kapila Rishi. Bhagavan Narayana himself was born because of the purity. Like Vishnu was born in the family of Sri Ramakrishna because of the devotion of Kshudiram. Like that, he promised to be born. It is a marvelous story. And the teaching of Sankhya Yoga. Here Sankhya Yoga should not be mistaken to the school of philosophy called Sankhya. Nothing to do with Sankhya philosophy. Here Sankhya means pure Advaitic knowledge. And there also devotional method is extolled. So her son, when after the birth of this Kapila Rishi, his father says, I was forced to marry by divine commandment, and I have given birth. I have caused the birth of my son, who is Narayana himself. My fatherly duty or husband's duty is over. I am going for permanent tapasya to be one with God. Then his wife felt the pangs of separation, and she knows her son is none other than Narayana. Says, my son, please teach me how to forget all the burdens of the samsara and cultivate the presence of God. And a most marvelous teaching takes place, and that is called Kapila Devahuti dialogue, Samvada. It comes in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's full of such stories. And some people equate that Kapila Rishi with father, with this Kardama. But it doesn't matter, whatever it is. He was a great Rishi, and every Rishi is none other than the Divine Mother herself. So there is another Rishi called Chiklita, and just like that, here is a prayer. Apa srujantu snigdhani Chiklita vasame grihe nichadevi mataram shriyam vasayame kule. O Chiklita, O Rishi, sage Chiklita, let there be plenty of water. That means rain. And let rains produce good crops. Please bless me by living in my home. Please make your mother, Mahalakshmi, stay in my home permanently. She has already, why permanently? Because earlier we have seen that through other children, we have already invited mother, please come and stay in my home and bless me. But she has already entered. Therefore, now the prayer is to make her stay at home permanently. Mataram, your mother, who is that your mother? Shriyam, Sri Mahalakshmi, me kule vasaya. See that she stays. Why do pray? Just like, the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, many times we get the reference. Went to Sri Ramakrishna because he did not give out at that time. There is no separation between me and my Divine Mother. Devotees knew that. And yet they used to pray, please tell your mother to bless me with these things. And Sri Ramakrishna used to say, let me pray. Even Narendranath, suffering from physical poverty after the passing away of his father, and he went to Sri Ramakrishna and said, please pray on my behalf to your Divine Mother so that my family can have a little bit simple living. Sri Ramakrishna made a remarkable statement. Naren, do you not know that how much I love you? But then I prayed, don't you think that you have to come and open your mouth and shout at me that you please pray for my sake? Long back I prayed so many times. And what is the problem? She wants to bestow her grace, but you are not ready to receive that grace. So Narendra must have been shocked. What do you mean? I also was praying. No, you did not accept her. You said everything is Maya. This going to the temples and worshipping these images is a pure idolatry, as Swami Vivekananda, Narendranath had learned from his English education. Hindus are idolaters. And so that is why the Muslims came and started breaking. What can the Muslims do? If you break one temple, we will construct 100 more temples. Because that is our nature. It will never go. If I go to America, I will do the same thing. If I go to the moon or Mars, I will repeat the same thing. First I will stay there, and the next project will be to construct a temple. And this is Hindus' speciality. They are religious people. So they cannot get rid of their nature, Swabhava. So Sri Ramakrishna was saying, but you did not accept the mother. What does it mean? It means the whole world is an effect of the mother. It is by her will. It is created. It is maintained by her will. And it is also destroyed by her will. These are some of the most marvelous ideas. The devotees of the children of Sri Ramakrishna must open their eyes to. Simply calling Mama will not do. When Swami Vivekananda visited the Kshera Bhavani and saw how the temple was dilapidated, the thought arose in his mind, had I been there when these Muslim soldiers, by the commandment of the Nawab, especially Aurangzeb, were breaking up this, I would have given my heart's blood to protect. And that is an egotistic idea. Then immediately he heard a thunderous voice. Is it you who protects me, or is it I who protect you? And Swamiji came down, chastened by this divine voice. So, who really destroyed all the temples, Hindu temples? It is not Aurangzeb, it is not Muslims, but it is the Divine Mother's will. And again we are trying to rebuild some of the temples. By whose will? By the Divine Mother's will. Anything that happened, that is happening, that will happen, will be only by the will of the Divine Mother. And that Divine Mother is what is called here Sri. And we are all Upasakas, Sri Vidya Upasakas. This is called contemplatives, that I want to feel I am the child of the Divine Mother. In other words, I am Amrutasya Putra. Everybody is an Amrutasya Putra. I have to do spiritual practice in order to drive that idea into my mind, that God Himself is my mother and father, Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. That idea should go slowly down my heart. So here the prayer in this 12th Rik is to another child who pleased Divine Mother in the form of Sri, but we should not say, so the devotees of Shakti, they say she is Durga or Kali or Parvati or Sri or Saraswati. There are now not so many gods or goddesses. God or goddess, both of them are my imagination of the divine. That's why Hindus are called the people who can choose deity. Ishtadevata means I will think of God in the form that I like. That is what we do. Every aspect of life, this kind of food I like, this kind of house I like, this kind of dress I like, this kind of friends I like, this kind of job I like. Everywhere my Ishta should be there. So we should have tolerance that everybody is thinking of God only in different aspects which pleases them. That is very helpful. So here she is called Sri. That's all. It has nothing to do with Narayana and Lakshmi separate, Brahma and Saraswati separate, Shiva and Parvati separate. Such idiotic ideas must be destroyed from our mind. There is no Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. It is the same divine. When, just like as a man, when he goes, suppose he is a doctor, when he goes to hospital, he is called a doctor. And when he plays with his friends, he is called a club member. When he goes for swimming, he is called a swimmer. When he is playing with his children, he is the father. When he is spending time with his wife, he is the husband. When he is catering to the needs of his parents, he is their son. Different roles. Person is the same according to roles. So creative aspect is called Brahma, maintenance aspect is called Vishnu, and recycling aspect, I prefer to call it recycling because there is no real destruction or death, is called Shiva. So actually only one divine. And so he is infinite. Therefore we are also none other than the same reality. That is the idea. And we have to realize that idea. Not that we have lost our status, but we have forgotten our status. Bringing back our forgotten status is called realization. That's all. So, what type of mother we want? O Chiklita. So, the Divine Mother is described. She is one apaha means waters. Here waters symbolize rains. But what does it mean? A mother is raining her compassion in the form of feeding the baby, in the form of entertaining him, in the form of embracing and kissing, in the form of playing, in the form of even punishing, all for the good of the baby, according to the needs of the baby. She may even do operation in the form of a surgeon, or she may give bitterest medicine for the regaining the health of the baby. But all because she knows my child is none other than me in this particular form. So she is apaha means her heart melts at the very remembrance of her child. And then what happens when rains come? Physically when the rains come, that is the compassion of the Divine Mother, and the rains come in contact with the earth, and the earth produces tremendous amount of crops. That is the Divine Mother in the form of the rains enters and then re-emerges in the form of crops, etc., so that we can enjoy the food, physical, mental, aesthetical, moral, as well as spiritual food. And then Snigdhani, all of them are what? Snigdha means extraordinarily attractive. Because you just imagine a farmer, rains have come. And what type of rains? Just the right amount of rain, not less, not more. Not only that, at the right time. Because when gods are displeased, it is said that unseasonal rains will come. The winter season becomes summer season becomes winter season, and rainy season becomes chaotic season. So, even such a wonderful city like Bangalore is suffering from terrible amount of water scarcity. What a stupid type of country our India is. How many rivers or the Divine Mother is trying to reach us in the form of the rivers, and we have not formed the idea that we must somehow, we can supply more than enough water, but nobody need to be suffering from scarcity of water or scarcity of everything. If it is a Western country, even thousands of miles, they are connecting, whether it is oil, whether it is potable water, and India is sitting and trying to pull down each other. This is called the greatest idiocy and the greatest foolishness. No wonder Swami Ranganathanji Maharaj used to call these people crabs. But here is the clue. The Divine Mother is looking after, but we have to think that we are the children of the Divine Mother. And when we can think, do upasana in this way, the mother's heart will melt, and her compassion, her grace, her blessings come in the form of pure rains, and then they will nourish the crops. Plenty of crops will be there, so that we can distribute it. Plenty are given, so that we can share it with those who do not have or those who cannot cultivate. This is O Chiklita. This is how you bring your mother into my house. Not only that, Vasaya Mekule. I am also praying to you that you live. What does it mean, you live? When we say, Sri Ramakrishna, you live in my home. In whose home he will live? So, only when a person imitates the life of Sri Ramakrishna, when we imitate the life of this Chiklita, who made the Divine Mother her own living Divine Mother, if we can also imitate his feet, follow his Padanusarana, then she will be also pleased with us, like she is pleased. And then she will stay in my home. So that is, in whose home Divine Mother is living? In Kardama's house, in Chiklita's house. So if I can invite Chiklita, if Chiklita can make my house his house, if I can make over my house to his name, then he will bring his own mother, and the mother will be inseparably staying. So let me also lead that pure spiritual life, so that everything will be prosperous, provided that prosperity is not for my individual enjoyment, but for sharing with anybody else. So, this is the real meaning. Apaha means beautiful rains. So, water means rain means crops means food means health, food means dana, etc. Srijantu, act of creating. So, the rainwater creates beautiful crops create so much of happiness creates the idea of sharing, caring and sharing. And snigdhani means smooth, resplendent, tender, and luster, etc. So if there is such beautiful produce, and in the olden days especially, people were dependent upon agriculture, so therefore they used to deliberately leave a lot of their crops in the field, not harvesting and taking everything home, so that birds, animals, some ascetics who go and collect all the grains and live only on that because they have taken that vrata. We want to like that. If we can live, then you live in my home as if you are living, as if I have become Kardama, I have become Chiklita, and wherever I am, my mother also will live with me. And not only that, if my children also follow me, because wherever Divine Mother's grace is there, she will also give me good children. And those children also, they are called good because they imitate my footsteps. And I followed the footsteps of the rishis, and every way Sarva Mangala will come. Mataram Shriyam, whom? Mother Lakshmi. She is the consort of Vishnu. And Sri always refers to Mahalakshmi, associated attributes, Yashaha, Namaha, Kirtihi, etc., which we discussed earlier. So, oh Chiklita, that inspire me, possess me, make me live like yourself, then I become you, you become me, and this house which I used to call mine becomes yours, and wherever you live, the Divine Mother lives. That is the meaning of the 12th verse, 12th Rik. And then the next 3 verses are again addressed to Agni. Remember, the first 2 verses are only, so, Jata Vedom Avaha. Here also again the last verses also are a prayer to Agni, because Agni is called Purohita. Purohita is one through whom my message can be sent to the divine, to the Devata, Devis and Devas. So that is how it comes, but more or less the meaning is the same, so we need not take long time. Ardram Pushkarinim Pushtim, Pingalam Padmamalinim, Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim, Jataveda Ma Avaha. Is the 13th Rik. O Agni, please make Sri Mahalakshmi stay with me eternally. What type of Mahalakshmi? She who is full of compassion, whose abode is lotus, who nourishes the entire universe, who has the complexion of saffron, who wears a garland of lotus, shines like the moon, and who glitters like gold. Again, certain symbolical words are used here. We will deal with them very briefly. Ardram means one whose heart is like water, wet always, wet with compassion, wet with love. See, when a mother meets her child after a long time, her eyes start streaming. And it is said, when Krishna used to return at the end of his grazing the cows, and Mother Yashoda is going in and out 100 times, why is not my child returning? And then the poet describes that her overflowing breasts are just raining milk, because the very thought, my Krishna must be very hungry. I cannot wait until I remove his hunger. This is called Ardram. Holy Mother is looking with so much of longing. This is my child. How can I help my child? We see in real stories, even animals. Just I narrated in the past, but I want to narrate something very, very interesting. This was given by an animal doctor, veterinarian doctor in UK, who has written beautiful books, all things great and small, all things wise and wonderful, etc. James Herriot, his name was. He was narrating one of his experiences. There was an English lady who was extraordinarily fond of cats. Any cat she treats as her own child. So she used to feed all her property, all her prosperity, money used to be to buy cat food and cater to them. If they are sick, she will take them to the veterinary hospital and bring them back, look after them. That was her greatest love. Now, in those days, she had a big compound and it was overgrown like a jungle. And then one wild cat, female cat, used to come. And this lady noticed it. And then it will not come to her because it is wild for whatever reason. She used to carry food and put it at a distance in the compound. Then she used to stand behind the window and notice that the cat, as soon as she knows it will come at a particular time, looks here and there, nobody is near, so it jumps down, eats the food and mews and then disappears. Many months passed that way and she never entered into the house. And one day this lady was sitting. She was shocked. What did this wild cat do? It gave birth to I don't know how many kittens, but there was only one kitten and it was terribly emaciated. It brought the kitten laid it at the feet of this old lady, looked at her as if saying, I am leaving my precious treasure in your care, and disappeared. Later on, this Harriet came to know about that incident at the first time and last time. So he was guessing that that wild cat, she was a mother, she was having some terminal cancer or something. Animals also can have the cancer, and it knows. But my baby will die if nobody is there, if I am not there to look after it. So she knows instinctively, here is a lady who can be trusted, and she brought her baby to the right place, to the right person, laid, looked, conveying the idea, from now onwards you have to be a mother like me to my baby. I have complete, full confidence in you. And then it disappeared. Never again was it seen. So we guess that was shortly after that it died somewhere in the wild area. This is called Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matra Rupena Samstita. So this Ardram word is, wherever we are, the Divine Mother is looking after us. And Pushkarini, what is Pushkarini? That she always lives in a lotus. What does lotus mean here? We Hindus use this word lotus again and again. The national flower is also lotus. Lotus, in Vedantic terminology, is the heart where the divine dwells, where we can unite through contemplation. That is why the heart is called a lotus. And in the Narayana Suktam we have seen, it will be hanging down as it were. And then, as Sri Ramakrishna described, when the yogi arouses his Kundalini, and Sri Ramakrishna had a vision, a yogi looking like me went up through the pathway of Sushumna. All the lotuses were hanging upside down, lifeless. As soon as he went and licked each chakra, each lotus at each chakra, it stood erect and started shining brilliantly. Like that I saw from one chakra to another chakra, and some are 2-petaled, some are 4-petaled, some are 6, 8, 10, 12, and then 1,000-petaled. This description is there in the Tantra. It is not, our controversy is not 10 or 12 petals. What it means is, every heart can be energized, spiritualized, and it is a state of consciousness. Every chakra is a state of consciousness. When our heart reaches that state of consciousness, that much we are nearer to our own real nature, Shiva, who dwells in the Sahasrara. And when we reach the Sahasrara, we become one with Shiva. Then we are able to proclaim Shivoham, Shivoham, Mano Buddhi Ahankara, Chittani Naham, etc. So that is being said, that Pushkarini, that is, you are living in a forest of lotuses on a beautiful lake. There are wonderful ideas. We will talk about them in our next class. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. May Ramakrishna, Holy Mother and Swami Vivekananda bless us all with bhakti. Jai Ramakrishna.